Welcome to the Tipsy Guest Podcast. I am your host, Marco Buenrostro, and every week I'm here with the top industry experts, amazing clients, and all my vendor BFFs to bring you the best tips, advice, and juicy behind-the-scenes stories to make wedding and event planning a breeze. So grab your favorite drink and let's get this party started! Hey guys, I'm Marco with the Tipsy Guest. I am so excited today. I have Winston from Gaines Entertainment.
Tis I. What's going on?
Hey, I was able to get you here. I've been looking for you for a while.
I don't move around as much as you do. I move around in the city, right? And I stay pretty much 1604 downtown. I do my thing. You're like, oh, I'm in Brazil today, y'all. Oh, I'm in Italy. It's
Funny that you mentioned that. People always send me that meme that I don't know if you've seen it that says, rich friends be like, hey, let's go to Africa this weekend.
That's you. You're like, I got the Airbnb. It's gonna be $1,300 a person. Who's in? That's you.
And it's me when it comes to, hey, let's go somewhere this weekend. Not the rich part, just a let's go to Africa this weekend.
I'm not mad at it though. I'm not mad at it.
I like to travel. What can I say?
No, I got the kids.
That is so different. How many kids do you have?
I have two kids.
How old are they?
One is 7. That's my oldest, and then my youngest is 3, and she just started preschool. So it's been a nice little journey for them, and just trying to get them acclimated to new schedules and whatnot. But it's been great. Yeah.
I always see the horror stories or hear about the horror stories about kids starting school. I guess, does she cry like crazy like everybody does?
Yeah, so the youngest, she just went in maybe 3 weeks ago as we're recording this. She just started preschool, and she walked in, and she was cool, but then all of a sudden, like, the energy in the room changed because all the kids just saw her, and they got excited, like, fresh meat, like, let's go,
Oh,
right?
my God.
and they just ramped up. Once they ramped up like that, she was like, yo, what the hell is this? And then the tears started coming.
Oh.
And it wasn't like a big cry like, help. It was just more like, yo, what the hell's going on? Because it was a lot.
Something new, yeah.
But after two or three drop-offs, she's like, all right, let's get it.
She's like, I got this.
Yeah, that's her spot now. She loves it. She loves it, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't have kids, but I have 2 dogs.
You take them to the daycare.
And I take them to the daycare,
Yeah.
and I feel like they get wild. One of them, the little one, he is crazy. So I know, like I always, they always give you like the report cards or whatever at the end of the day, and like it always has the same. Marlo was super social, and he loved making new friends. I'm like, oh yeah,
it's the
that's
same
Marlo.
thing. It's the same thing, man. So.
All right, kids, dogs. They're all the same.
In a sense.
Some people are not going to like that. But who cares? This is the Tipsy Guest. We talk shit.
Let's go. I'm with it.
But anyways, so today we're going to be talking about, I know you as a DJ, we normally, when people hear about DJs, they normally think about like, yeah, hey, the party, let's make people dance. But today we're going to change it up a little bit. Yep. We are going to be talking about the ceremony.
Yeah, I like that.
So basically, we want to make sure our listeners know what a DJ is going to do for them during a ceremony. So I guess if you want to walk me through the process, what is it that you do for them during the, before they're getting married, as they're getting married, and then of course right after they get married?
Yeah. So one of the key components of the wedding, and this should be something that everyone knows off top, is the ceremony. I tell all my couples this when I meet with them for the first time. Everyone is there for that.
Yeah.
So I just find it really crazy and very surprising that most couples now, we're in 2024, most couples now are like breezing right over that when it comes to the meetings and the conversations with, planners and us and AV and all that stuff. They're just kind of like, all right. And then we get to the dance floor and I'm like, yo, pump the brakes. The ceremony is like, that's the thing. If we don't do that, then there is no reception. Right. So my first thing that I always, try to look at first and foremost of all things, I want to know where the hell are we doing this? Because that plays a huge role in the equipment I'm going to use, how we're going to mic you, all kinds of things. So that's first and foremost. And then from there, we start to talk about how you guys are going to make this more of an individualistic thing, right? Like, how are you going to make this unique? How are you going to make it you? I'll be honest with you. Most couples now are just like, well, what does so-and-so do? And I'm always the guy that's like just trying to challenge them a little bit and like, hey, how about we shut this meeting down?
Yeah.
Go watch some movies or go, like go on a walk, go do something and think of something, because we're not going to do this like, oh, you're just going to walk down the aisle, say, here comes the bride, and then like you're married. We don't want to do that. We want to do something that's you. And I think that's what's that's what has me excited right now about today's couples, is that there are no rules anymore for ceremonies. Flower boys we're seeing, right? We're seeing grandmas as the flower girl. We're seeing couples, or not couples, we're seeing guests being greeted before they get to their seats with shots of tequila, which, by the way,
you have one right now. I took mine before you got here.
But you have weddings now where you pull up to the ceremony, and as soon as you get there, there's something, right? And it's not the whole stuffy in a church, and I got to sit there uptight, and it's 45 minutes long. You know what I mean? Like, everything's not so cookie cutter anymore, which is great. But as far as we're concerned, my job, in a sense, is to make sure that you understand what we're going to do for you first, and then try to build something more creative around your ideas and like what makes you as a couple. Let me take this one.
Take your shot. Yeah. So that is one of the things that I like. I think every time I see you posting on social media about your weddings, I always notice that you are so involved with the couple. Like,
That's
I
good.
see you. It's 818 by Kendall Jenner.
Okay.
Maybe she wants to sponsor this
For real?
episode.
I didn't even know about that. Okay.
Yeah, she got a lot of heat when she first released the tequila line, because it's a Kardashian. But who cares? I love the Kardashians. People know that.
Hey, it's good.
So I drink their tequila.
It's good.
But so every time I see you post on social media, about your weddings, I always see you having so much fun with the couples. Like, there's a very specific photo that I love on your social media, and I think you even use it on your flyers, or I've seen it more than once.
Yeah,
and it's where I think it's you're like jumping in between the couple, or they're jumping with you. They're doing something fun, and I'm like, that's how it should be.
Yes.
You're supposed to get along like great with your couples. They're supposed to like you. They're supposed to like connect with you.
Absolutely.
And I think that photo gives your vibe. That is who DJ Gumby is.
That's me in a nutshell. On a wedding day, is I just try to be different from what everyone else is giving off, because I mean, on your side of the tracks, you usually get to like kind of pop in, set up, leave for a bit, and then you come back when it's fun, right?
Yeah.
For photo booths. For me, when I get there, I see hair and makeup team, and they're like tense.
Yeah,
they're trying to make a deadline. I see the officiant, which I do want to talk about officiants in a second. I see the officiant getting there like with 15 minutes to spare, and they're uptight, right? It just kind of like winds up the couple. So by the time I'm done with ceremony, and they've walked back down the aisle, and we're just trying to do that circle around to where we're taking some cocktail pictures and maybe having a drink or so, I'm greeting my couple with a drink.
Yeah.
Even if they don't drink, I'm like, yo, I got a margarita for you. I don't drink. Cool. I can go get you some water, but here if you want it, right? Whatever. In the same sense, after I circle back from getting them a drink, I'll go back up. I'll do something with equipment, put some stuff away, but I come back down just to change it up, right? Because at that point, they've been taking pictures for about 20, 30 minutes with family and friends, which can be a thing, right? You're trying to find Joe. Joe's already drunk, and you're trying to tell Joe we need to take more pictures. Dad's done taking pictures, and he's annoyed, so he's not giving you the right energy. Maybe the groom didn't know pictures were going to take this long, so he's not giving you the right energy, right? So like there's all this stuff going on, and you want to get all these pictures in, but at the same time, it should be a happy thing.
Exactly. Yeah, like you don't want them stressed.
Yeah.
Which a lot of the time they seem really, really stressed.
Very stressed, and I think as an industry, we need to really hone in on that aspect of the day, which is that little transitional phase from end of ceremony to the end of cocktail hour. The couple should be having fun. Like, I understand you've been booked for $10,000 to take these photos, but your couple shouldn't be pissed off about, like that's just weird.
Yeah.
So what I do, I literally do this. I show up after that 20, 30 minutes of me doing other stuff, and I'll either come back with a towel, an appetizer, something more to drink, or just me. And when I show up, I usually have my belt, my WWE belt, which you've probably seen.
I've seen it, yeah.
Check it out on Instagram. And it just breaks the ice and it changes the energy, right? And then from there, I say, hey, let's take a fun picture. Because at that point, they've just been taking pictures where they're,
like the formal stuff.
Yeah, it's like portraits. And I'm like, yo, all right, can I get 2 minutes?
Like loosen up a little.
Most photographers, this is a cool little like inside scoop. Most photographers love it because they understand what I'm doing. The smart ones understand that I'm like actually breaking up the monotony of this picture, and giving some different energy. Some of them hate that shit.
Yeah, I mean,
they hate it because they feel like I'm taking away from their portrait time, which really I'm not. I'm just trying to get one picture, and I'm trying to just switch gears a little bit for the couple so they can think about fun instead of just like, deadline. But yeah, that's one of the things I like to do during ceremony time.
I like that. It makes it different, and I'm sure it's a great experience for the couple, for the guest, and for you as well. I mean, you're there for a long time, so you want to make sure that you create a fun environment for everyone, including yourself, of course.
For sure.
So when it comes to the music, the equipment, right now, earlier that you mentioned, you need to know where it is so that you know what equipment to bring.
Oh, yeah.
So do you bring, I guess, the microphones? Like, what type of microphones do you bring? I guess, like, for the officiant, for the couple, like, how many setups do you, or how many microphones? I'm not really sure that, I guess, the term that I need to use here.
No, you're good.
You educate me on that.
No, it can get complicated, and that's where I come in with the couple, and I just explain to them that for me, and just to be quite frank, like, my price point is almost double than all my competition in the area. So when I get to a meeting with my couple and they start talking about ceremony, all I do is I say, I got you. Don't even worry about it, because I'm going to bring you what you need. That's what I tell them. Now, for my mid-range DJs, I tell them what you're going to get is A, B, and C, right?
Yeah.
And that's always dependent on the location. For example, if we're at, I can name drop this one because it's just true. If we're at the Allen Farmhouse, there's a little bit of a wind tunnel that is created in their chapel.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful chapel, right? And the backdrop is amazing. But if there's a little bit of a breeze on any given day, you're going to get a lot of wind that comes through there, whether it be sideways or vertical, what have you. So we have to make sure that the lapel is either tucked under the shirt, or it's, we have a what we call it's almost, what is it called? It's like a muffler, whatever the thing is called. It's one of these windscreens.
Like little fluffy thing. Yeah.
So depending on where we are, it kind of, dictates what we're going to bring. If we are doing a wedding of, 200 guests, and we know that a lot of people are coming from out of town, everybody on your guest list is going to be there. If you have a lot of out of town guests, where else are they going to be? Right. If you have guests that are coming from down the street, they're probably going to be late because they have a life and they have other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it just works out that way. So for the 200-person wedding where everyone's coming from out of town, we need to bring more speakers because we need to cover it more. If everybody's coming from in town, we might get away with one speaker because you might have 30 people that aren't at the ceremony. Make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So all that stuff kind of plays into like what you're going to bring. Last thing I'll touch on is, I think a lot of people are really honed in on the idea that your microphone has to be wireless, and that's completely false. We're okay. We can use a wired mic, and it's totally fine. I promise you.
I was just gonna ask that. Yeah, you beat me to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, because most of the time, I see them with the little microphones, but I mean, like you said, wired microphones are okay.
They're okay.
And I guess that brings up my question: how do you deal with situations where one person is louder than the other? Because I know we were discussing this earlier. I'm really loud. Like, I need to control myself sometimes. Because I get excited and I get really loud.
Yeah.
So do you have like a control station where you are, like making sure that everything sounds about the same? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And this is every month that I do a ceremony. The three people that are up there at the altar, quote unquote, completely different. everybody, right? From top to bottom. Usually, and this is just me speaking based on Texas, usually the bride is louder than the groom, and the officiant is the loudest of the three. So what I do is I make sure that during the ceremony, I'm not back there like checking scores from college football. I'm dialed the fuck in because I want to make sure that these levels sound nice and that everyone that's, 5 rows back can understand what's going on, because that's actually the biggest complaint I hear from other couples when they come to me. Is they say, well, when I was at so-and-so's wedding 2 years back, I didn't hear any of the vows. I'm like, yo, that's not.
That's like the best part.
Yeah, I mean, it's debatable.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Depending on what ChatGPT gave them.
I had a guy one time, he pulled out 3 pages. I'm not making this up. He pulled out 3 pages. And then when we got to her, she had a note card like this big. She was like, well, I should have went first.
That's funny.
but anyhow, that's our job. There's a bit of an underlying like saying or thought that when you hire a DJ in this world, you're getting entertainment and AV, and that's really true. Whereas if we're in the conference world, I'll just switch gears a little bit. You would be paying one individual person to monitor the mic levels throughout the entire event, right? So why do we not have that much attention going towards ceremonies?
Yeah.
This is a once in a lifetime moment. So you should definitely not be on your phone, like playing Minecraft or whatever you like to do in your spare time. You should be locked in for that 20 minutes and just make sure that everything's tight. And that's what I do.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And so when it comes to the music that's played during ceremony, do you ever have any input on what songs, I guess, do you ever make recommendations, or do most of your couples already come to you with a very specific song in mind? How does that normally work with your process, I guess?
It really does depend on the background of the couple. Some of the couples I work with, they're like the third wedding in their friend group, or they're the second sister to get married in 2 years. So they kind of understand that you can do whatever you want. But sometimes they do need direction in which, I have to kind of like take the handcuffs off a little bit and say, hey, you don't have to do Ed Sheeran perfect by.
I mean, that's a very common one. Yeah, that's a very common one.
Very
it's
common.
Such a pretty song.
It is a pretty song. I love that song. That's my guy. But you don't have to do the string quartet version of the Ed Sheeran song you heard on Bridgerton, like just because you saw it on social media.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I can go on a tangent about is you do not have to go viral.
Yeah.
I want to say that again to the camera. You don't have to go viral. It's your wedding. Stop trying to go viral. Just be you. Back to you. Okay.
That is the perfect advice on today's episode. Yeah, because a lot of the time people come to, at least for example with me, like they come, when they want a photo booth and they come to me and they're like, hey, we saw this video, and they send me the video and they're like, we want exactly that. Can you make it happen? And I'm like, well, I'm just bringing the camera. Can you make it happen?
You make it happen, because it takes two to tango. And also, and I'm sure you're a smart guy. You look at the venue, the guest list, not the guest list, but the guest count, time frame, and you're like, I don't think this glam bot is going to be the right fit for your rustic wedding.
Exactly.
In a barn. That doesn't make sense. So, to my point, stop trying to go viral because you saw something. Just try to plan something
Make it about
that's meaningful
you.
To you two as a couple, and go from there. But just to backtrack on your question, I give input 10% of the time, because most people, by the time they're done meeting with me, they've already like caught what I'm saying, which is the push. I'm trying to give them a push of like, hey, whatever you think is going to work, it's going to work, because I'm going to help you make it work. And if it's something that I think that is not going to land, like something they think is going to be funny, I reel that in all the time too.
Nice. I feel like your meetings with clients are fun.
I try to just be the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Like I never tell a couple congratulations.
Okay.
I just you've heard that 40 times by the time you.
What would be your instead of congratulations? Like, what would you say to them?
There's no alternative. Congratulations is congratulations, and I know everyone appreciates that very much. But on a wedding day, I'm not saying congratulations. I'm saying we got it done. I'm saying, yo, it's over, like in a positive way.
Yeah,
right?
no, of course.
But it's how many times are going to hear congratulations, even through the booking process.
Yeah.
As soon as a
first email response, congratulations
on your wedding, and the girl responds, I'm actually the cousin.
It's happened to me before. Yeah, sometimes I deal with a friend or somebody gifting the photo booth to them.
Yeah, yes,
so yeah, it's an awkward moment when you say something like that.
Yeah, and I don't think I never try to downplay a wedding at all, because these are actually my favorite events to do by far.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people in our industry say the opposite. Like, they lean more towards upscale social or conferences and corporate stuff. But I love weddings because it's once in a lifetime. There's no do-overs. So I just take everything serious in regards to the ceremony, because I think it sets the tone for the rest of the day. I don't care what anybody else says. We can argue to the top of the mountain. Like,
yeah.
The ceremony is the key to the rest of that day for sure.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much. I think we are reaching that time where we got to wrap up.
No, let's keep going. Come on.
But this is your open invitation to come back. I mean, I feel like we can talk for hours.
Oh, yeah.
This
is light work. It's easy.
Yeah. So can you let our listeners know where they can find you on social media? I mean, they got to go see your work.
Absolutely. So if you want to see my team as a whole, you'll go to Instagram. That's where we post everything and do all the funny stuff and all the pretty stuff as well. That's on Instagram at Gaines Entertainment. Gaines is spelled like Chip and Joanna Gaines. If you don't know who that is, you've been living under a rock. Also, for me personally, if you want to check out what I'm doing and see my kids and all that jazz, you just type in DJ_Gumby. You got to get that on their editor.
Perfect. And we'll also have your handles on the show notes and blog for the episode. Thank you so much. I'm sure we will have you again. So to our listeners, again and again and again, I'm always gonna say it. Make sure that you tell your BFFs about the Tipsy Guest. We're here to give you advice.
You have to.
For your wedding date. So if you're the bride, if you're the groom, make sure you send us your questions. Make sure you send us a specific topic that you want us to talk about. Or if you have a favorite vendor, let me know who it is, and maybe we can have them on next. Until next time, cheers. Thanks for listening to the Tipsy Guest podcast. If you know someone who could benefit from these tips, spread the love and share it with them. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Next round's on us. Same time, same place. Cheers! This podcast is brought to you by MVP Photo Booth, the #1 photo booth rental company in San Antonio, Austin, and Central Texas.